I'm quite happy to start. As I said before we started recording there, Snedds, I've written quite a lot on this song, so buckle in. So Sned's quite rightly said, the song is commonly referred to as the most mysterious song on the internet. However, it's otherwise known as Like the Wind, Blind the Wind, Check It In, Check It Out, and or Take It In, Take It Out after lines in fan-interpreted lyrics. It is a song that is widely believed to have been recorded from a German radio station, which I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to bother.
Is it
Um,
music for junge Leute?
is that the name of the radio station, or is that the name of the program on
Oh,
the radio?
sorry, that's the name of the program. My bad. I don't know what the station's just called NDR. I don't know how you.
Do you want me to try and pronounce it? I think it's pronounced Norddeutscher Rundfunk. That wasn't too bad.
See there, if there are any native German speakers listening, like we apologize for.
I've just murdered your language.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, yeah, so it was believed to have been recorded from this German radio station somewhere in between 1982 and 1984. So according to an article which is available on Rolling Stone website from September 2019, a person by the name of Darius S. recorded the song from the radio station onto a cassette deck, along with songs from the likes of XDTC and The Cure. Darius S. stated that he didn't record an intro from a DJ or anything else that might have otherwise identified the song. Certainly, the recording I listened to on YouTube does sound as if there may have been a follow-up kind of outro or description of the song by a DJ. You hear a very brief kind of popping, almost kind of lip smacking sounds if someone is away to start speaking. However, it might very well just be the sound of the cassette deck being turned off. I've obviously got no way of kind of knowing that. At any rate, it wasn't until 2007 that the search for this unknown band or artist really took off. Apparently, after years of searching for the song online, Darius's sister, Lydia H., under the username of Blue, posted a small digitalized snippet of the song onto a German website dedicated to 80s synth pop known as spiritofradio.ca. The song, and indeed the search for more facts about the song, has grown exponentially since this time. Internet sleuths have even gone to the length of contacting NDR DJs who were working for the radio station at the time, such as British-born Paul Baskerville, whom disappointingly has no recollection of the song either. He's conceded that it could potentially be amongst his collection of over 10,000 vinyls from this time, and has since stated that most collectors know most of what they own, so he thinks it's probably unlikely that it's somewhere in there. There has been quite a few false leads, dead ends, and myths that have been posted online in connection to the song, which obviously just kind of adds more to its mystique, including the story that it was the last song that the mysterious band played before all members were shot dead whilst attempting to climb over the Berlin Wall, which sad but kind of cool as well.
I
Like,
didn't hear that one.
the song, nevertheless, continues to capture people's imagination. One internet poster has suggested that part of its appeal is precisely because people can't locate it in 4 seconds. You can't use Shazam or anything like that, as with kind of other songs nowadays. The song is also featured heavily in a YouTube channel called Tales from the Internet, whereby YouTuber Wang has posted a total of 4 videos to date on the subject, which is where I got most of my information on this piece, as well as a few other articles like the Rolling Stones magazine that I mentioned. His most recent being, or Wang's most recent video being from the 10th of January this year, whereby he touches on the hottest lead to date, with some people going as far as suggesting that the mystery has now been solved, although he himself doesn't seem entirely convinced. Several individuals have suggested over the years that it may have been a Greek band called Metro Decay, whereas others have noted similarities between the song and those of another Greek band called Statues in Motion, both of which had previously been ruled out. However, as is the case with this internet phenomenon, more and more people are joining the case and rediscovering or retreading old lines of inquiry. This has coincidentally led several individuals to contact members of Statues in Motion in order to ask if they could shed any more light on the song. One of the founding members of the band, who goes by the pseudonym Billy Knight, initially stated that he knew nothing about the song. However, when another user by the name of Cam Conspiracy, I believe, contacted him, he stated the song was in fact a song that the band had originally recorded for their self-titled eponymous debut album that never made the final cut. So that's quite interesting in and of itself. And although there are definite similarities between the song and those of Statues in Motion, there seems to be some discrepancies in the types of equipment that have been used, the dates, and the personnel. For example, internet sleuths have deduced rather that the song uses a Yamaha DX7, whereas Billy Knight claims to use a Yamaha CS15D. According to internet users, it's pretty much impossible to recreate the synth sounds heard on the song using the CS15D, and that the Yamaha DX7 didn't come out until after Statues in Motion's debut album had been released. Similarly, some have suggested that Billy Knight may be using this as an opportunity to promote the 30-year anniversary re-release of the Statues in Motion album, or perhaps even his new band Astrodot. The vocals definitely do, however, sound very similar, with some suggesting that perhaps Statues in Motion vocalist Aston Dean may have either recorded the song prior to joining the band with another outfit, as he had previously been linked to a band called Homicide. Unfortunately, his whereabouts remain unknown, and there's currently a major internet manhunt on the go to try and track him down.
It's a lot of information to take
That
in.
is a lot of information, man. Were you aware of any of that?
Most of it, I didn't know the sort of that story about the Berlin Wall. I hadn't heard any of the rumors like that, and it reminded me of have you heard of Rodriguez?
Yeah, oh yeah. Did we not go
So
and see that? Or was the it's a movie, isn't there?
yeah, there's a documentary called Searching for Sugar Man. And
Yeah.
basically Rodriguez was like this. He was an American artist. He never really took off, but then he had like a massive underground following in South Africa. And the
Yeah.
documentary is about trying to find him. And the rumors about Rodriguez, like that were flying around South Africa, were that he like sang one of his songs, and then when the song finished, he blew his brains out on stage. So it just reminds me of that like sort of like crazy rumor that flies about when people have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah. It's a really good documentary as well,
Ah,
man.
it's brilliant, yeah.
Um, wasn't he working as a labourer or something like that?
Aye, something like that, yeah. Yeah.
But he since went on and played like massive venues, like huge stadiums and what have you, over
Aye.
in South Africa, hasn't
Well,
he?
once they found him, he played a huge stadium in South Africa, and he's played like the Royal Albert Hall and all sorts of stuff. So he's kind of he missed out on that portion of fame in his life, but it's come back around and um, worked out worked out in the end, I suppose.
Definitely. Um, so as for the song itself, we'll get there eventually. Um, it's approximately 2 minutes and 55 seconds long, so just under 3 minutes. I've described it as being a pretty generic sounding post-punk new wave kind of krautrock song, similar to the type of thing you might have expected Joy Division to have done. However, I think they've previously been ruled out as well. The vocalist on the track sounds very similar to Ian Curtis, in my opinion. However, you can definitely pick up on a kind of German or Eastern European accent there. The song's good, don't get me wrong, however, I do wonder if it's maybe a case of the song's mystique and background being more interesting than the song itself. It's a very guitar driven number, which coincidentally is another reason that some internet sleuths have deduced that this probably isn't a Statues in Motion song, as most of their songs appear to be more synth or keyboard heavy. The synth in this track is, however, really good and really quite infectious. It kind of vamps over the top of a rhythm, lead, and bass guitar. The song includes real drums rather than a drum machine, unlike some of the other bands previously mentioned as well. The vocals are quite distant, they've got quite a kind of gloomy sound, which kind of makes it hard to decipher the lyrics again, further adding to the mystique and the mystery to the song. It kind of follows a pretty traditional verse, chorus, verse pattern. Yeah, it's worth a listen, I suppose. It's got a real kind of, I suppose, gothy kind of feel to it
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Um, what's your thoughts on it, man?
I mean, I think what you've said is pretty accurate. I quite like it. I mean, it is. It sort of starts off like a quite a generic post-punk song, like you say, but I think it's got this sort of more joyous kind of classic rock guitar riff in it that kicks in after the first few bars. So I think that maybe elevates it a little bit in my estimation. And the
Hmm.
vocals are like you said, a bit like Joy Division, or I've said like a less fun Depeche Mode. Like
Right, okay, yeah. Yeah.
it's one of those songs. I think it's a little underwhelming at first, but it kind of gets under your skin a wee bit.
Hmm.
Like there's a nice like chug to the guitars and like nice rumble to the bass and trundle to the drums, and it just kind of after a couple of listens, it kind of gets under your skin a wee bit. So I'd say yeah, I think that's how I would describe it. Maybe a little bit underwhelming, but it's a slow burner, I'd say, and it'll grow on you. But like you say, it is more the kind of fascination of the internet with finding out who it is, who the artist is, and what the song is called that is more interesting than the song, really.
Yeah, I find it quite strange that the guy who originally recorded it from this German radio station wants to only be known as Darius S. Like, he seems quite reluctant to give his full name. Same with his sister. Like, she just wants to be known as Lydia H. and had previously used the username Blue, and I think she'd used another one as well. Um, I can't remember what it was now off the top of my head, but it sounded like a proper name. Um, like it could have been a man's name.
Aye, they maybe just don't want weirdos, like random weirdos contacting them. I think that's probably fair enough.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Um, because inevitably, like weird, obsessive people will start messaging them, and like I don't know, but weird stuff happens on the internet.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it's interesting about statues in motion because it does feel a little bit like after initially denying it was their song, it's almost like he's gone, oh wait a minute, I could I could actually say this is our song and
Yeah, could benefit
gain a
off.
bit of traction off it because there's loads of people out there searching for this. So it does feel a little bit like they're jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah. And if you watch Wang's videos, I think he's taken screen grabs of conversations that likes of Cam Conspiracies had with Billy Knight on YouTube, and possibly there's been a chain of emails that have gone back and forth between the two of them, and he does get quite defensive as well whenever
Yeah.
Cam Conspiracy, if it is indeed Cam Conspiracy, one internet user anyway, whenever he gets challenged on certain things, he gets quite defensive and starts getting quite personal, um, which would lead you to think that he's probably lying.
Yeah, so I don't think the mystery has not been solved and probably well, I was going to say it probably never will, but you never know. You never know. I don't know if it'll ever be solved conclusively.
No, probably not. No.
Um,
But interesting nevertheless. As for a rating, I've given it possibly a 6 or 7 out of 10.
yeah, a seven, I think, is what I've gone for. Just which is fine. I think yeah, so it's worth if you're interested in all the stuff that Grant's just told you, go and watch Wang's series of videos
Yeah.
because there's a lot more information there, and he like he says he shows like screen grabs and all sorts of stuff. So there's a lot of information out there. There are a few. I mean, the whole song is on YouTube, but there's a few different versions of varying quality. The best version I could find was two. So one is just one's a music video, which is like it's got like old footage from the 80s, like people in like 80s dance clubs and stuff. And it just works with the kind of whole 80s vibe of the song. So the video goes really well with it. And that's by Hold On Music. If you find that on YouTube, and there's a remastered version. There are a few different ones, but the one that actually sounds better is by Johnny on Sugar. So that seems to be the kind of best quality version I could find on YouTube. And then obviously the music video as well. Somebody's uploaded it to Spotify as well, so you can, if you search for the most mysterious song on the internet, you'll find it. You'll find it on Spotify. Just watch out. There's a few random cover versions. There's one by like a symphonic metal band, which is rubbish, and there's another cover by like a what are they called? They're like an indie rock band, and it's basically a straight up cover, but it's just not as good. So beware of imitators. Cool. Okay, so that was the mysterious, the most mysterious song on the internet, and remains the most mysterious song on the internet.
It's not finished. It's finished.